So, a massive, highly calculated military strike just went down, targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. But this wasn't just some random bombing run. Oh no, this was a super precise, coordinated operation. And the real story here isn't just what happened, but who actually came out on top in the end. Let's break it all down.
Right. So when the dust finally settles on an operation this big and this complicated, you've got to ask the big question. Who really benefited from all this? Who won? Who lost? And hey, were there any curveballs nobody saw coming? That's exactly what we're going to get into.
Okay, so first things first, let's look at how this attack actually unfolded, because the level of coordination and, well, surgical precision they used here it's pretty remarkable, to be honest. It all went down in three main steps. First up, you had the US Navy out in the Persian Gulf. They essentially blinded Iran by jamming all of their air defense radar. Just poof. Imagine their screens just turning to total static. Then, with that electronic cover, Israeli F-35 stealth jets slipped right into Iranian airspace. Nobody even knew they were there. And finally, step three. They hit the jackpot. A precision strike with bunker-busting bombs on that critical Natanz nuclear facility. The source material had this perfect analogy for it, a military alley-oop. It's brilliant. The United States threw up the perfect assist by scrambling all the radar systems, taking the defense out of the play, and then Israel came flying in for the score, executing that direct airstrike. Just a seamless 1-2 punch of electronic warfare and air power. All right, so now we know how it happened. Let's get back to our main question. Who were the strategic winners here? Who walked away from this with a W? Let's take a look at the gains. And this might surprise you, but the analysis points to one country as the biggest beneficiary of all. And it's the one that didn't even fire a shot: the United States. So why the US? Well, think about it. They gotta look tough and protect their ally, Israel, all without putting a single American life on the line. Zero casualties. And, maybe most importantly, by making sure the strike was only on the nuclear site, they kept the global oil markets calm. No panic, no spike in prices. The source actually calls it a 500 IQ play, and you can kind of see why. They achieved all their goals with almost no risk. And really, this quote from the analysis just sums it all up perfectly. The US got the geopolitical street cred while making sure your gas prices didn't go through the roof. I mean, that is a textbook win-win. But, of course, the US wasn't the only winner here. I mean, the country that actually carried out the strike? Yeah. Israel also came out of this looking very strong. For Israel, the gains were all about military power and strategy. This whole operation was basically a giant public demonstration of what their military can do. It proved they can reach deep into enemy territory whenever they want. And that right there restores a massive deterrent. It sends a crystal clear message to the whole region that Israel's military reach is no joke, and it can get past even the most advanced defenses. Okay, so we've talked about the winners. But for there to be winners, there have to be losers, right? So let's flip the coin and look at the pretty significant costs for Iran here. I mean, just look at this damage report. It tells a really stark story. Their fancy S-300 air defense system, totally useless. Their nuclear program, knocked back in a major way. Their ability to scare their neighbors, yeah, that's compromised now. And on top of all that, their national prestige took a serious hit on the world stage. It was a loss across the board. And if you want to put a hard number on it, just how bad was the damage to their nuclear program? Well, the estimate is a 5-year setback. 5 years. Think about that. 5 years of research, of development, of progress, just neutralized in a single night. That is a massive blow. But wait, the analysis doesn't stop there. Beyond the obvious winner and loser, the source points out this kind of unexpected consequence, what it calls a sleeper effect that hit another major world power. And that sleeper loser? It's Russia. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Wait, Russia? What in the world do they have to do with this? They weren't even involved. Well, it all comes down to the hardware. See, here's the problem for Moscow. Iran is a huge customer for Russian military gear. And the fact that their top-of-the-line S-300 air defense system was so easily sidestepped, well, that's a huge PR disaster. It's basically a terrible global advertisement for their best tech. This failure could seriously damage Russia's reputation as a reliable arms dealer and hurt their future weapons sales all over the world. So, we've got our winners, we've got our losers. But In a region this volatile, a single military strike is never really the end of the story, is it? The board has been completely reset for sure, but the game is definitely still going.
And that brings us to this final, pretty provocative thought from the source analysis. While the operation itself was a success for some, it leaves this really unsettling question hanging in the air. What happens next? What are the long-term ripple effects going to be? And how is Iran going to choose to respond? Not tomorrow, but in the months and years to come. That is something we're thinking about. Thanks for tuning in.